Alrighty, just got back from a full marathon. Man, it was an awesome run. But I got some serious stuff to unleash. You know, I'm pretty direct about stuff on this page. If it doesn't work for you, scroll on. It's time to end it. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, it's time to end the battle with yourself. I see so many people in groups. I engage with a lot of people in groups who are so caught up in this fucking struggle of self. And I tell you, it's the reason why A, your runs aren't getting any better. Your fitness in the gym is not getting any better. Why? Because you're bringing all this past bullshit struggle that you think is actually optimal to use as fuel, when in actual fact it's making you worse. And we always hear that, you got to use your stuff as fuel. That's garbage. I'm going to be the first to say it. Why? Because I lived a pain-driven life for decades. Didn't serve me well. And once I let go of all that shit and actually backed myself, that's when things started to take off. There's no way in hell I'd be still doing what I'm doing week in, week out, month after month, year after year, doing these runs, which I do purely for self-growth. Got nothing to do with running. I don't give a fuck. I've never done any races, have no interest, none of the medals, all that garbage. This is all for personal growth. And if I didn't back myself through that time, there's no way I would be where I'm at now. Rarely any injuries, always learning and always growing. So, I know some of you folks hold on to your precious struggles because, as I said, you want to use it as fuel. It's not going to work for you in the long term. I hate to say it, you want to hold on to your precious war, go for it, but you are not going to grow at all. So I'm just telling you now, make peace with yourself. I've said it a few times, but I still see people going through the post, fucking digging in. This is, I'll tell you why it doesn't work. Alright? Example, you're on a long run. And again, our minds are just computers. And they're like endless TV channels, and you'll just get triggered by something out of the blue, something from the past, something your dad said to you when you were 10 is just gonna, boom, pop into your head. Now, you have a choice to either change the channel or stand there and just watch that scene over and over again. And I know it's hard sometimes when it's like those TV shows where we hate it, but you can't turn away. This is the choice you have, to just change the channel or scroll on as you always do in your feeds. When you see something you don't like, scroll on. But what do? We don't. We want to sit there and watch the fucking train wreck happen. And what do? Our bodies start to react. Our bodies store past traumas, past pains, whatever you want to call it. So when I see a lot of people say, you know, use your most fucked up child memories, trauma, or whatever you want to call it, as fuel to push through, your body's going to say, fuck you, because you know why? It's already in pain. Like I said, when I'm out doing these 50k plus runs, week in, week out, or whatever, there's no way in hell I go out there with that mindset. And there's a couple of times that's happened because I've had internal conflicts and the ego's taken over and we just got to de-stress. And those runs have been really shit. And they've been very hard physically because the body is starting to go, fuck, what are you doing to me? It's like driving a car and it starts shaking. The body is feeling that on top of the pressure you're putting on top of it as well with the exercise. This is what I'm talking about to do with people wanting to improve their health and fitness and how they want to improve their mindset, yet all they're doing is filling their minds from garbage of the past that does not serve them in the present. Do you think world heavyweight champion boxers go out and when they're ready to fight, they're thinking of some fucked up childhood stuff? They might have been in an orphanage as a kid, Mike Tyson as an example. No, they are so focused on the present of trying to make sure they win the fight. Because the minute your mind starts to go into that zone, boom, you're on the canvas, which means you are not present. And this is, like I said, why you will not win the battle when you are against yourself. You might get validation from people because you're out there staying hard and you're doing all that shit, and that's great. But when that validation stops and that applause stops and you don't get the comments and the likes and all that sort of shit, and you haven't backed yourself, then you're going to start doubting yourself. So what are you going to do? You're going to bring more garbage in. You're going to start thinking, fuck, I need more fuel to sort of get myself back. You're going to put yourself back. I can't stress this enough. This went through my head the whole time on this run, saying I have to unleash this because, again, there's a lot of people I see out there doing great things, but this is where they're stuck. And that's why they are just going to hit that ceiling constantly and they'll never get a breakthrough. The way to get a breakthrough is to let go of that shit. You can't change that stuff. It is what it is. But if and when you get a trigger of something when you're running, you might have a song, a memory. I listen to heaps of songs. A lot of the songs I listen to are songs that remind me of my father because I was very inspired by my dad. Do I feel emotional when I hear those songs? Of course I do. But I feel the good emotions. I don't go into the negative side of stuff because the body's going to start to feel that experience again because the body doesn't know the difference. So, if it's a positive emotion, you know, I'll have a few tears if I think of my dad. Of course, I miss him every day. That's fine. The body's like, I'm okay. I'm on autopilot here. You just deal with your stuff. But if you start thinking of all this, some colleague at work or relationship argument, because people talk about, especially with running, how, you know, you've got to go out the door and de-stress. It works against you. Trust me, it works against you. It did with me a few weeks back. I went out to run to de-stress and it was shit. I didn't enjoy it because I went out with the wrong mindset. So the key is to change your state when you're out there. And that takes practice. If you want to live in that pain state time outside of your exercise, go for it. Walk around feeling angry. That's your business. But not when you're in a physical state, because your body is going to rebel. And that's why I keep telling people about the body-mind connection. You must marry the two together. They must be best friends. Otherwise, mind's going to be dragging the body along. The body's going to say, I'm done. You're throwing all this garbage at me. And on top of this, I'm trying to bench press 100 kilos or whatever. People want to psych themselves up or whatever they do for physical activity. And you're dragging all this stuff. It's not going to work for you long term. Now, you can use songs as motivation. If songs get you pumped up and fired up, that's fine. That's just motivational. That's fine. I listen to some brutal shit that just like, man, it's just so aggressive, but I feel so enlightened when I hear it because I enjoy it, right? So, again, I can't stress this enough for people. One day, some of you folks might get it. If you want to know more about it, you can drop me a line because that's what I do. I help empower people to become their best selves, both physically and mentally, because again, can't have one without the other. It's great if you've got massive biceps, but if you've got shit mindset, biceps will deflate eventually. So I hope this makes sense. I had a lot of stuff to unleash today, and I figured that running and talking at the same time is going to get lost. So the key, the lesson here is to start to back yourself, befriend yourself, end the war with yourself, right? Because there's people out there who are going to be at war with you anyway, right? There's going to be haters. Fuck, dealt with it most of my career. It's not going to stop. Never has stopped. Still cop it. But if I'm backing myself, I don't care. It's what it is. They got the problem, not me. So that's the whole point. Backing yourself. Because that way you've got backup. If you're fighting against yourself, I can't express how idiotic that way of thinking is. And unfortunately, I spent decades that way. I wish someone told me this shit that I'm sharing with you now 20, 30 years ago, growing up. Like, fuck. Now, there's a difference between bettering yourself and being against yourself, all right? Some days your runs aren't going to be good or your workouts might not be great, but you don't have to dump on yourself. The fact that you got up, you went to the gym or you went for your run, you committed, that's massive. So again, backing yourself and also be patient because everything's, it's incremental. People just think, oh, you know, they're not getting where they're at now. It's impatience. So, I hope all this makes sense. I got to recover now and give my body what it needs because it was telling me I need an ice bath and some food. So, again, I'm giving it what it wants. I'm backing it. I'm, listening to it. So, I hope all this makes sense. Just, again, if you got any questions, either comment. But trust me, you will constantly lose the battle if you don't become friends with yourself. You'll be in constant conflict. And it's absolute madness that if you were arguing with your friends the way you treat yourself, I guarantee they're all just going to tell you, fuck having you as a friend. Why are you treating me like this? They wouldn't tolerate it. So why do you tolerate it yourself? Absolute madness. It is. It's absolute madness. Right, so it's going to take time to unravel this stuff for some of you. It's taken me quite a while. But once you have to unravel that stuff, you're like, this is such a relief. Can't believe I treated myself like that for so fucking long. Ridiculous. Alrighty, I'm out of here. Oops, time to refuel, and hope to hear from some of you folks soon. Otherwise, I wish you all well, and look after yourself.